Good stuff.
It's almost like you. Get it, different class. Good evening. We used to have a minor issue with a camera, but we're here. We're here. Me and John are here. Pedal be here as well. At some stage, we'll have a little switcheroonie. It is the club call. So if you are a Toffee TV Premier member, make sure you get your calls in. The link is in the description on Toffee TV Premier. John, back from holiday. I'm back from, more importantly, much more importantly,
Back from
Brighton. I mean, you were at Leicester as well, to be fair. Got off a plane, went straight to Leicester.
It's an interesting week.
Brighton, very interesting 7 days.
Yeah.
But Brighton on Monday, you were there. And
Boss, wasn't it?
What a early evening on the south coast that was for you.
It was, because I picked up my great nephew in Skem at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Mm.
And we actually had a
And it
really
was launching it down.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. It was.
Oh, was it all right?
Peed it down all the way home.
Yeah.
But going down,
Were you all right?
It wasn't too bad.
All day, yeah.
Did it?
All
I don't
day.
know. So, but we got down reasonably handy. I get
Yeah.
told off by Ped.
Yeah.
But we got down quite handy, which was good, and got in the ground earlier as well. And fans got in the ground, and they were on it from
Ready to go.
And of course, an early goal just lit the blue touch paper, limbs
Or
everywhere.
the pink touch paper.
Well, yeah, we do well in that pink
We
strip.
do. Just wear it for the next 3 games.
Yeah.
See how
Play
we
at
get
home in the pink
Yeah,
strip.
see how we get on. See how we get on.
But yeah, I mean, it was fabulous, wasn't it? And then, and you always get home faster than you went. Because,
Downhill.
yeah, well, yeah, because you just want to get home, don't you? So I got in about 1, I think, something like that, thereabouts. Because I have to go up to Skem and then turn around
And then come back.
again. But yeah, Josh got up for school, and he was very happy.
Danced up.
He's
to school.
14, so he's very happy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that must be... trying to think of a better away win in recent times.
Well, the one that's comparable was a year to the day, wasn't it? So
It was
Leicester.
not quite the same. These are a
No.
much better side in
Oh,
form.
yeah. But I mean, from
and the
what
goals,
the away
but
fans were like. And stuff,
the importance.
Yeah.
And you had to go back 2018, I think, Boxing Day 2018 at Burnley for the last 5-1
Yeah, I was there. Yeah.
win, which was thingy. But they are a really good side, and I think the biggest thing that I took from it was not just the fact that we won the game, because obviously that was amazing to win the game, but the fact that we played so well, but we were absolutely ruthless in front of goal, which is not something we can say about Everton too often. And the biggest thing for me, sorry, just to finish on that point, the biggest thing that knitted it all together for me was the centre forward. Thought he was brilliant.
Totally. I mean, I think basically the spine did it really. Yeah. DCL. I mean, this turning very early on sent Dunk. What was it you say about sending people to Aldi and then come back sending him to the
Little as well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he just committed and he was gone. And then they picked out the pass, which was brilliant to pick him out. I think you said before on the sofa, I never thought about it until you mentioned it. It was almost like a training ground move where you've got a box-to-box midfield player going in, but then stopping and coming back a little bit, and Dom cutting it to him. And he had to go back a little bit for it, didn't he? But Bruni had to just square it in.
The target,
yeah. And that was enough for the away crew to go crazy. But yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I mean, we often talk, don't we? If you have 1 or 2 or 3 of your players off, then you can be in a right mess. But most of them were on, so it just looked cool, calm, and collected. I mean, we were all a bit nervous, 3-0's not enough, and all that sort of stuff. And then 4, and you think, oh, that's all right. 4-1.
Here we go again.
Yeah. But
I was saying to Ped, the only time I said what a win this is, said that to me dad, and it was like the 94th minute or something. It's the
before we
first
made
time
it
I
5,
uttered the words, what a win this is. And then we broke and we made it 5.
I
and
actually said to Josh, because we're all faithless, aren't we? You know, when the clock's ticking over, you're waiting to see how much added time there is, and you're into the added time. And I said to who's next to me and who's buzzing, like, and I said, even if they scored 2, they wouldn't have enough time for another one.
That's it, isn't it? Because we all remember Newcastle a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
3-0 up in injury time, and didn't win it.
That's
But
right.
it was a tremendous win. Luke, is Luke ready?
Yeah.
He's got our first caller. It's Luke. So let's go over there. Luke, are you there?
Yep, can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yeah, mate. Go on. What have you got to say?
First of all, it's mad, innit? It's absolutely berserk, this feeling, innit?
What, the feeling of winning a game? We're getting it. Hang on, one second. Little bit of it's reverberating.
Yeah.
So it's hard to.
Well,
One
mate,
second.
I can understand you there. So.
I can hear you. Just go on. Go again.
Yeah,
That's it.
So it wasn't you,
unreal,
mate.
innit?
It was Ned.
It was brilliant, mate. I'm just saying, as you probably just listened. Then I mean, you know, on Monday I thought I had the feeling we could get something. I didn't want to crow too much about it. As you will have heard, my missus said 5-0 to Everton, and I just, all right, love, and shut the door and went in and carried on watching Leicester and Fulham. I felt we might get a draw, but what a result, what a performance.
Yeah, just I guess just a couple things, but when I saw Mina on that team sheet, I could not believe it. I remember getting in the car and just thinking, oh my God, I can't believe he's done it. I just can't believe he's done it. And just all the anxiety or whatever which might have been there just completely dissipated. And I was buzzing. Couldn't wait.
Yeah. It's mad, isn't it? Isn't it mad? Because that was the opposite of that, the Fulham game. The game that we were going to Goodison thinking, this is today's, you know, we've got a great chance. And you get the team sheet at 2 and you go, why is Mouthpipe? Without, going over players. But there was a couple of people on the team sheet that day that knocked your confidence.
Sinks, doesn't it?
Whereas on Monday, I think you're right, that team come out and you went, yes, he's playing.
Yeah.
But then they've got to go and deliver, haven't they? They've got to go and deliver. It's great going. Mina should be playing, then he's got to go and perform.
Yeah,
and he did.
The first thing I said was obviously you get a lift instead of a downer when you see, sorry, Michael, but we all got lifted by the fact you weren't playing, sort of thing, or starting, right? And you do that, and then I immediately felt that to Joshua, you better not make a mistake.
That's it, isn't it? Because you've been banging the drum for them for weeks, and then they come in, if they have a mare, you're like, yeah, I'll just reverse into the corner and stay out the way.
Opposite, didn't he?
But it was brilliant. Yeah. It was brilliant.
It's crazy. You go from rock bottom on when you see Michael Keane on the team sheet. I'm not digging him out as a person or anything, but
he's just not playing well, is he? That's just
it's form.
He's not playing well.
Form's not.
Do you know what I mean? It's just the way it is.
It's not just him though. It's other players. It's like when you see Godfrey on the team sheet or Maupai, your heart drops, and it was the complete reverse. I was on cloud 9, going to watch the match. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
Spot on. And it was justified in the end, wasn't it?
Was he just bombing around the living room?
Oh, mate, he was absolutely. He had his pink kit on. He was just bouncing. He was bouncing, and he's going, oh, this, and I keep saying, I'm probably a little bit. He's like saying things like really positively, and I need to stop this because the negative, like the being there, done it in me of watching Everton comes out sometimes, and I feel like I need to just shut up and let him have his own experience. But I was
very much in the Zach camp, to be honest with you. I was running away with it, mate.
Well, I just was saying, like when we had that opportunity for 4-0, Ghana, and it gets kicked off the line, I'm going, that would have been it, wouldn't it? And then he's going, Dad, we're 3-0 up at half time. And I'm like, no, you're right, mate. You're absolutely right. Never once dreamt of this, blah, blah, blah. Then I'm going, just got to get through this 10. And I was playing in 10-minute blocks. Got to get through the next 10 minutes. Got to get through the next 10 minutes. And I think when it went 4-0, I let out like a scream of like pure relief. I downplayed the 3. When we scored the 3, I was just like, yes, because I didn't want to commit. It went 4-0. I'm like, yes, all over the gap.
Your 10 minutes.
And then a few seconds, like a minute later, it's 4-1, and I'm sneaking back in. But no,
Yeah.
it was
I
great.
was
He
doing
was
5
buzzing.
minutes. Like the
3-0,
players can hear me
sorry,
in the
John.
ground. 5 minutes, lads. That's
It's
5
just
more.
keep playing
5
the
more.
blocks,
Yeah.
don't you? Yeah. So yeah, Luke. I mean, you're absolutely
Spot on, lad,
enjoy every second of it, mate. I'm just terrified because I think if it was like October or something in the season, I'd be like, come on, enjoying it more. But when you know what it means, like, every second was like, just get through the next one. Just get through the next box.
There's a point there, though, you know, because
unbelievable.
Zach's, 11, is he?
It's just turned 12.
Just turned 12, and Josh is not long 14.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's very positive as well.
It's great. Let's not.
So
I'm
the
trying not to
youngsters
beat
are
it
not
out.
being negative.
No.
Our asses.
It's
like
not. It's not negative. It's like the thing of like I've seen that we've
experience.
thrown this away,
Yeah,
isn't it? So
yeah.
it's like, come on, keep going. But no, I was absolutely, honestly, mate. He wasn't well actually on Monday either. He'd been sick in the night, and he's never sick. So that gave him a huge, like, we were buzzing all night, you know. And he's met Michalenko today, so he's in town at the Ukrainian Peace Garden. He's had a picture with him today, so he's buzzing.
Excellent.
He's buzzing.
I said at the time that's probably the biggest upset of the entire season, the entire league. When you think about it,
that result, maybe, yeah.
The result,
not the win, like the margin of win,
Yeah.
quite possibly.
Yeah, the margin. Like you got to think, like the two ends of the spectrum that both teams are at.
And they're brilliant, aren't they? They're a great side, aren't they?
When they play the Goodison, and you could see again on Sunday, they are a top side. Like they were very, very hard done by. And like we still don't take nothing away from the win for us, but they still played a good game. Like,
yeah, they did.
Yeah. You can just see how much of a good side they were. Like even in the first half, even though we quite decent in the first half.
I think that gives credit to our performance then, doesn't it? Because it wasn't that they had a complete off day and we just caught them at the right time. Yeah. They played well. Pickford had a blinder.
Pickford was brilliant.
You know, and we won 5-1.
And we could have scored 4. We had the breakaway. I don't know whether you remember it, John. It was just before James Garner had the chance. We had a breakaway, and I think was it McNeil or Iwobi is bursting through, and Dom's on his own. And he just can't. He hesitates.
Iwobi, wasn't it?
Was it Iwobi? He hesitates, and then he tries to play it through, and it gets blocked. If he'd just slipped him in early, Dom was clean through with the goal.
Had one where he tried to play a pass when he should have shot as well.
You
know, and
so
they were
we
in
were
opposition's box type stuff.
Yeah, we just cut through them. We cut through them like they weren't there. So, and that I think you're right as well. I think you're right, Luke. They did play very well. So to go and win 5-1. When they've played really well, is and
with the games in hand, they're still in the mix, even though they've just
yeah. Listen, Real Madrid, they were European champions, and you wouldn't naturally necessarily bet against them doing it again this year. The first time he came out their own penalty area last night, they scored. City had all the play, all the ball, and they break him. Vinicius Junior cracks one in, and that. You know, maybe we're just following a Real Madrid. That's what the top teams do, Luke.
Good teams do,
yeah.
No, it was a great performance.
2 points. Sorry.
Go on, mate.
Yeah, keep going.
I'll make these 2 points quick, so don't take too much time.
No.
But the first one, and I was meant to ring up a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know, whatever got in the way.
Yeah.
Don't do it again, mate.
I think it was when McNeil. I think it was when he got his 3rd or 4th of the season. I was starting to think to myself, like, obviously the fee, and he wasn't what we needed and everything. I was thinking, you put all that aside. At the time, I was thinking, if he can get to 6 or 7, he's a good signer, really, when you think about it, because that's what we've asked for the entire time. Players, wingers, score goals, please.
Yeah.
And he's went and done that. So in the end, I mean, I think we've all had more than a right to have a go, because just his right foot alone, really. But like, he's been a good sign in the end. I never would have thought in a million years at the beginning or even halfway through the season, but I'd be sat here saying that now.
I think you're right, and if we got those sort of outputs from Iwobi, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in, would we? If we had Iwobi getting 6 or 7, or if Damari Gray was still playing 6 or 7, they would have made the difference, massive difference.
Imagine if he would have if he would have had this feeling from Dyche all season, he could have got like 10 goals. Something. But I'll make the other one. The other thing is just, does this? How do you think this makes Dyche look, really, with the whole Keane and Mina thing? Because it's just been very strange, hasn't it? It's been proper weird. And the Godfrey thing instead of Patterson.
Well, you can look at it 2 ways, can't you? I've been critical of him in the last few weeks because he didn't react very well to Decore going out the side. He seemed to change things for the sake of changing it, which I personally, only my opinion, didn't agree with. I thought he made things far too complicated and it's cost us results. And I thought he was too inflexible with Michael Keane. I've said this before. He took Connor Cody out for 2 mistakes. No issue with that. If that's them, they're the rules. As the manager, no problem. But everyone has to play by the same rules. And Michael Keane's made 3, 4, 5, 6 errors before he's been taken off the team. So, but fair play to him because he did take him out. So
I didn't expect it. Yeah. I didn't expect to see Eddie Mina in Everton shirts again.
Okay, so there you go. So what we have to say, you're right, but what I'm trying to say is, if I'm criticising him when he's not doing it, if he turns around and does it, I'll go, fair enough, you've realised. Okay, people have come and said to me, yeah, but he should have done it 4 weeks ago. We wouldn't be in this mess. You never know.
Yeah, I'm fond of saying it's never too late to do the right thing.
Exactly, and that's what he's done.
He could have done it sooner, but he did do it. Yeah.
But he's done it, and Patterson, let's be honest, Patterson's been forced upon him, hasn't he? Godfrey's injured, Coleman's injured. Holgate's okay, he got himself sent off, so he doesn't deserve a shot. So fair play, he's put them in and they've performed, and it's up to them now. And I've got no issue, I've said it for a while, I've got no issue with you as a manager. They're your rules. You get the shirt, perform well, it's yours. I think you need that.
I've not watched the final word, so sorry if you mentioned this, but Patterson wins the ball for when we score.
I do mention it, yeah.
Which was huge.
Yeah, for the first goal, gets them. No, don't apologise. You're absolutely right. I'm made up that you've done the same observation as me. He gets the first block in and he threads it through to. He gives it to Iwobi, doesn't he? And off we go. Iwobi plays it and bang, we're 1-0 up. And that's important. And listen, he had a rough opening quarter of an hour against Matoma, 20 minutes, and then he got to grips with them.
I think he just wasn't getting enough support, to be honest, on the right, really. But it's just because Brighton are a good side, so they're going to expose people, aren't they?
Yeah, Matoma, if there's been a better left-sided player in the Premier League this season, I've not really seen him. I think he's been sensational all season for them. Took people by surprise. He's been brilliant. But Patterson stuck to his guns, and so much so that they changed the way they played in the second half and started switching the play over to Solly Martin on the other side because he wasn't getting much change out of Patterson. So that's fair play. He's got the shirt now, and let's hope that he puts in another 3 performances as good as that one.
Right. Sorry, John.
I was just saying it'll do him good because he's got a bit of match fitness as well, Patterson, isn't he?
And that's what
I'll let someone get on now.
Because he got cramped up a bit, so that he's pushed himself on that day.
Yeah, excellent.
Ped's distracting us off camera with a shirt that he's got.
Nice. Very nice. Luke, anything else?
That's it. I'll get off now, but I'll say well done to Mike Pill. He ran the 7.5k on the weekend and did brilliant. Another one of our Premier members.
Brilliant.
He calls in a couple of times, so excellent. Well done to him, and thanks for everything, lads. I think we're staying up now. That's it. I'm very confident.
I looked across and Baz was looking at me. It's on you now, Luke.
When was the last time we went down?
Before
a long time, a long time ago. Let's keep it going. Yeah. I love that. I love the positivity.
Never mind me being bored.
Love the positivity.
Yeah,
completely flipped on.
69 years
for me.
It's right.
But
it's right.
I'll go now and get someone else on. Thanks.
Cheers, Luke. Thanks very much, mate. Top man. Take care. Bye now. See you, mate. Yeah, listen. Everyone does feel better today, don't they? And that's what we want. Stephen Cardy says, could we offer Mina a pay-as-you-play contract as we look totally more secure when he plays?
Not sure he'd take it. Yeah.
No, and I think, listen, I love Yerry Mina, but you can't rely on him.
Risk's too big.
Too big. He's been, like I've said it before, if he stayed fit, he'd have been Everton's number 1 centre-back, and he probably wouldn't have been at Everton now because I think someone else would have come and took him. He's got all the tools, hasn't he?
The Mina decision should be used as a lever for Branthwaite.
Yeah, absolutely.
1 out, 1 in. Shows the same logic you just said. I mean, the Keane thing is going to, Dyche will have a problem with that for a bit, I think, because the story you'll give, isn't it, is you do the yards, work hard, get in the team, perform, and you're in. But he's showing that Keane.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily that applies to him. But of course, his pushback's going to be, yeah, but I did it.
Mm.
That's how Mina got in.
Mm.
And Mina, if Mina stays fit, he'll start all the last games, won't he?
Yeah.
And if that happens, and when we stay up, let's be optimistic,
Yeah.
right? Then the stories of Branthwaite says he's going, and you're the man to take over from him.
Yeah.
So.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Because that is ultimately Everton want to be in a position where they're building a team that has got Nathan Patterson in at 20.
Mm.
It's got Jared Branthwaite in at 21.
Mm.
They're that James Garner in at 21.
McNeil's not very old.
McNeil 22. 22, isn't
Is that all he is?
he?
Wow.
And all of a sudden, you've got them players who are that age. Even Dom, if you keep him fit, you can see how important he is. 26 isn't old. He's
right.
in his prime now.
Mm.
You know, even whether you like Michalenko or not, he's certainly in the squad, but he's only 20. Alex Iwobi may go, to be honest.
Just talking about age,
but
mate.
age, wait, but they're the ones you want, don't you?
Yeah.
Because you got to move away from the older play. We've got to try and create a culture and a team that can improve, and that's what we hope for, don't we? And that's what we want. Kantos Luke, who's already just been on the phone. Thank you very much for the super chat, mate. Massively appreciate it. You didn't have to because you're a Premier member, but thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Says, all the love, gents, for the Toffee TV family. So confident of staying up. Like I just said, throw this in the away day, Kitty. Nice one, Luke. Take care, mate. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. On the super chat. Thanks very much there.
Hope that's not a precedent, you know.
Well, if people want to do it, that's up to them. But if you were thinking about a super chat, just become a Toffee TV Premier member.
Save you
it's cheaper and you get
money.
stuff, yeah.
Best
But thank you very much. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It massively helps us. It really does, and it helps us get bigger, better guests and everything else as we move forward. And also, if you just like different football, not just Everton, subscribe to Toffee TV Football. One of our moderators will put it in the chat in a minute. Thank you very much for taking the time to do that. Well, one of them, or if one of our other basic tricks watching or something like that, he'll do it for us as well. Yeah, Barry P says McNeil is not the fastest, but it's like the opposition goes into the Matrix slow-mo mode when he's running with it. What he is good at is travelling with the ball and manipulating the ball right and left, which is good.
He's not quick off the mark, but he's okay up to speed. He's okay up to speed. He's just not quick off the mark.
That's it, isn't it? So he's got a good engine on and on.
He's got a cracking engine. I mean, that was in the 96th minute, that last one. So no wonder the others look like they were
he broke for the fourth as well, the same though.
He did.
He makes the save because Iwobi makes Solly Marsh snap his hamstring.
Yeah.
Chasing him, and McNeil catches up and is in. So
being slow and having 1 foot means he's got quick feet though, hasn't he?
Very quick feet. Very quick feet. He does seem to have... It might be a bit of Matrix stuff going on here because he does seem to have got faster.
He's found something.
And that's transfers to the pace of the breath.
That's his push-off leg.
Fair play. Bob says, if, with a capital IF. I've seen what you've done there, Bob. You've just cautious. You've put the question in and you've gone, I'm just going to be a little bit cautious with it. So he's gone capital if, and I'm all day with that. A lot of time for that. We do stay up. Who are your top 3 players to... He's put ditch. I'm going to say to move on for the good of them as well, John, not just Evan.
Top 3? These are ones I want to get rid of.
Yeah, would like them to progress somewhere else.
Yes.
Let's be nice.
So it's not an honour then, right? Even though it might go. Michael Keane. Clearly we won't take up the offer on Cody.
Doesn't seem that way, does it?
No. I think Alex does enough, stats-wise, to be able to generate some money. So I'd probably try. I
was going to say, what would you...
Iwobi on.
Iwobi is a difficult one.
He is difficult, but he's got value as well.
For the simple reason that I thought he was brilliant the other night, to be fair. And people don't play the passes he plays.
1 or 2 games in 5 and 6 isn't
No,
helpful,
I think the key for me, the issue for me is what we do with him, because you've got a year left. And he's on big money.
Well, the decision is sell him or give him a new contract.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. So do we give him even bigger money than he's on?
No.
And hope that he adds goals as well? He said himself he doesn't want to have any contract talks at the moment because he doesn't know what he wants to do, which is fine. It's his prerogative. And that's why I think he's a difficult one. I think you're right with Michael Keane. I think he's 30. He shouldn't, being as nice as it can. We have to think about us as well. And I think we want to move to a situation where Jared Branthwaite is the future for me.
Totally
21,
agree.
2-footed,
Totally
centre-back.
agree. Giant.
So therefore, Michael Keane would be one I'd chase onto pastures new. Mason Holgate.
Yeah.
Although, ironically, if you had to lose one of them, it would be Keane. And I'd keep
absolutely.
Holgate because I think Holgate can play right back and can play
Bit of
centre.
utility, and he's still relatively young.
Yeah. Neil Maupay would be one for me.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Would be one for me because it's not doing.
If it was only 3, sorry, yeah. Alex, you keep. Mopay, you get.
No, well, it is. We are at a crossroads, aren't we? If we stay up, because
I think it's easier to move Alex than it is to move Mopay.
I think Mopay will have offers in Serie A, mate.
You reckon?
Like Salernitana still like him, and there was a couple of Serie A clubs who wanted him last summer. He wanted to stay in the Premier League. I think his agent will do a good job of saying they didn't like him.
Change your manager.
The manager changed. They didn't like him. The new manager didn't like him. He's being pushed out. Blah, whatever.
Playing Route 1. He's not that sort of
exactly.
player.
And I think he will. I think he'll get a move, and I think Everton will just. Well, we nearly sold him in January. Don't forget.
That's right,
we nearly went in January. So I think I can see him going.
So your 3 so far, you're on Keane, Mopay, and
it'd be probably Holgate, simply because of the wages with the new contract. That is why I think I'd say them 3 first, just because of the wages. Obviously, I love Yeri, but he's big wages. He's going to go. I imagine Andre Gomez will be kept by Lille if they qualify for Europe.
You would think
5th,
so.
And he got 2 last week, 2 goals last week. The 5th, I think Everton would just be like, yeah, a couple of million. He's yours. Just come on, off you go.
Because his wages off the books. He
Still
did good hugs and got himself a great contract, didn't he?
Listen, the first season he was very good.
That's a long time ago, that.
No, it was, but don't forget, I think the thing that everyone misses is he was in a midfield with Ghana, with prime Ghana.
True.
And then Ghana went in the summer.
True.
And then we got Gabam, and Gabam got injured. So all of a sudden, the fella who come in, who was going to almost look after him
type,
in midfield.
He was going to be the playmaker.
He was going to be the head on the ball. The other fella was
being asked to do a defensive job then.
It went.
Yeah.
And he isn't quick.
And then he got the foul.
Then the injury, and then we've never really... When we did throw him back in at times, you remember Allen, who A isn't disciplined and B isn't the quickest. So again, it's gone that way.
It's all about timing, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it is cutting the wages as well, isn't it? You lose him, who's on big money, Mina, who's on big money, and you can shift others as well because they're not really contributing. That's the only way Everton are going to get it.
Actually, if we had a director of football model which was working, because we don't know if it's working, we'd be very optimistic about the summer. Because you've got players naturally coming to end of contract who you perhaps don't want. Yeah. You've got ones who you perhaps don't think you need, want, who you think you can get money for. Yeah. And then you'd say, there's some money, go spend it.
And hopefully on young players who you're looking to turn around.
Absolutely
as well.
Right, yeah.
And take you forward. We've got a call from David. David is on the line. So, good evening, David.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Very well, mate. Very well. We are sat here grinning ear to ear. It's been a lovely, I was going to say a lovely 48 hours, lovely 46 hours, because 48 hours ago we were just about to score. Yeah. 5:30.
100%.
Just about to score a goal. Yeah. So yeah, it's been great. How are you, mate?
Yeah, unbelievable. I think that the reason for the call is I've been listening for a couple of years now and been a member for a few months, but never really had never really got round to calling up, just because I think it's just been negative for so long, hasn't it? But I mean, I just think since Monday, the relief, I just can't believe the amount of relief really since Monday, because, it's we've gone from a week where we, looking at the last 4 games, what games will we win? What points will we win at all? And, from going from, I can't see us getting anything at Brighton. Now I actually think we might actually beat City on Sunday. Would you believe? So it's amazing what a week can do, isn't it really?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of football, isn't it? Is that
it is. It's
always the next game, isn't it?
It is, and there's work to be done yet. What I guess we need to avoid let's just be black hat for a minute. If we get battered at the weekend, we can't all go hugely negative again.
No.
Because, the players have made a rod for their own back twofold, really, haven't they? And the manager to some degree. Of one, where's that come from? Why haven't you been doing that before? Can you do it again? So I think a solid performance at the weekend, and we can all breathe a bit lighter, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think what you've got to consider is the performance levels, if they stay the same on Sunday, similar to Monday, then even if we lose the game by the odd goal, then you still take confidence into the last
Spot
two
on.
games.
Spot on.
And can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you,
sorry, mate, I
Dave.
was
Go
just
on, mate.
agreeing with
Sorry,
you, yeah.
sorry, guys. So I'd just like to make a couple of points, really.
Go on.
I think, firstly, I'd just like to say I was a bit frustrated on, say, Monday, in the sense that where has this team been all season? Now, I know we had Lampard, and then we've had Dyche, and you could maybe put some of the blame on Lampard, and I wasn't a Lampard fan whatsoever, but I think it can't just be down to the fact Calvert-Lewin's being out. I think some of these players, are just not consistent at all, and if we do manage to get out of this, it'd be great. But I think we have to look to next season to higher all our standards. As I think what I'd say is the fans of the club have got high standards, but it's not shared at board level, in my opinion. So I think it's gradually been eroded over the last 5, 10, 15 years, to the point where we're sort of happy to finish just above the relegation zone. But I think all the fans that I know, and me included, we've got far higher standards than that. So I think, going forward, we have to sort of not accept this, get behind the club to the end of the season. But beyond that, we really need to let the board know what our feelings are, because simply this is not good enough going into a great new stadium. I appreciate that I'm maybe being a bit negative there, but I think we have to, we've had 2 years of this now, and it's no way to live as a football fan, especially for our great club. And, we're not entitled, but I just think, going forward, we can't accept this. It's we need far more.
Yeah, I totally. I mean, it isn't the sole reason why we're down there not having Dom, but it is a huge reason, because I said the other week, if Everton get out of this, it's almost a miracle that we still can get out of it, given we played the whole season without a centre forward, really, which no other club has done that. Every other club, me and John have said a few times, the squad was better than it was performing. Everton's defence and midfield, for me, is good enough to be halfway up. The front players haven't been good enough. They haven't been up to scratch. Dwight McNeil's in brilliant form at the moment, banging goals in. Long may that continue. If that continues, then I think, like Luke said before, he'll prove to be a really good signing. That left foot, if he adds the goals he's on 7 now. Love him to get another 3 in it, double figures. That'd be tremendous. But if he was to say, listen, I'll guarantee you 7 goals a season now for the next 3 or 4 years from that position, be more than happy with that. We obviously have to add that on the right-hand side as well. But up until now, Neil Maupay, 1 goal. Dwight McNeil scored more in, doubled Neil Maupay's season tally in whatever it was the other night, 11 minutes or something. That's how poor it's been, the return, without Dom. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's got, he's doubled Maupay's goal scoring this season. He's only played 11 games altogether he's been involved in. So it shows you Decore hadn't scored any goals up until recently.
Yeah.
So for most of the season, it's a miracle we are still in with a chance, because we just simply didn't have any goals in us. Now, all of a sudden, I mean, you brought it to my attention the other day, all of a sudden it's 1 defeat and 6 now away from home. We've lost 3 out the last 4 at home, which is tempers it a bit. But we got 2 at Leicester, 2 at Forest, 2 at Chelsea, 5 at Brighton. All of a sudden, because of the likes of Decore and having Dom back, the goals are starting to come now, and that's been key, John, hasn't it?
No, it has been key, and I think it might be in the final word. After Leicester, I shocked you, and it was Mike on the sofa with us when I said,
how can you forget Mike saying, if we get out the bottom 3, we'll stay up?
Yeah, over the weekend, yeah. But I said if we'd beaten Leicester, we'd have got 10% of our points for the whole season from 1 game. That still applies from the last game. But we've also 15% of our goals this season were scored in the last game.
Yeah.
15% of our total goals were scored at Brighton.
And which is terrifying,
and if we did the sums on how many of our goals for the whole season been scored in the last 5 or 6 away games, we'll probably be shocked. It'll certainly be more than half, won't it? Because of the 5.
Well, it might be.
Which is crazy.
It'll be a third, won't it?
So we have talked all season about, the task of the managers, because we've had a couple, is to get the best out of this squad. And up until now, probably excluding the last game, neither of them had done it consistently. Be generous to them and say consistently.
Mm.
So we do have a squad that is better than it's been performing, and a lot of it goes on between their ears. That's the thing. And I think, the caller before who said, Luke it was, wasn't it? You sink when you see that Michael Keane's in the back four, and you're lifted when you see Mina. Well, Tarkowski must have that feeling as well. He's not stupid. He knows his partner's got a mistake in him and so on. And, which is your point, DCL being on the grass, as the manager might say, makes a massive difference, not just to how we feel, how the team feels, but more importantly, how the opposition feel. Because they know he's a quality leader of the line. He's a good in that sense, he's an old-fashioned centre-forward. He's an outball. He's always in someone's face. He's going to win pretty much every header. Again, he was winning stuff, and we still weren't getting around him in the Brighton game, were we? So there's room for improvement there as well, playing off him now that he's back. And let's just hold it together for 2 or 3 games. I think, we'll say, what was the problem? No issue here, move along,
I totally agree. I think a couple of points from me as well in regards to, firstly, McNeil. Do you guys think he looks far more dangerous in a central position? Because every time I've seen him on the wing, he puts good crosses in. But for me, since I've seen him become more central, I think he looks far more dangerous. So is there maybe a sort of a way of getting him, to start the game more central as opposed to being on the wing and coming inside? That's just a thought. I just think you might start to see more goals from him on a more consistent basis. That's what I'd say in terms of McNeil.
I think the way we're playing, and certainly against Brighton, keeping it narrow, played to his strength, didn't it? Because he's got a good engine. And amazingly, we found ourselves with a fair amount of room when we were counter-attacking. So again, I think we have to be cautious in some respects. I'm going to be a bit of a party pooper and say you need to see these performances going on over a longer spread of games.
And I think the other thing as well, it is the way we play suits him because he offers so much. I mean, that second half, he done so much defensive work out Mikalenko out. Because Mikalenko got, let's be honest,
rinsed
for 15 minutes at the start of that second half. He got torn apart by Solly Mars. He had a decent game overall, but that first 15, then McNeil went back and helped out. But the way we play, we're almost playing a 4-4-1-1, aren't we? The core is 4-5-1 stroke 4-4-1-1. The core is the one who's breaking. But that's allowing McNeil to come in. I actually think if Everton got a more attacking left back,
would be in a better place.
McNeil would be even better because he could do the thing where he does come inside and drops into those middle areas, David, and gets it out of his feet and the shot's on. Or he's got the ability to thread it through to the on-rushing fullback. So he did, don't forget, he was a central midfield player when he was at Manchester United, and when he went to Burnley, they moved him because he's not involved in the game enough when he's being central. Dyche moved him out to the left.
That's right, yeah.
Because obviously...
But his off-the-ball work's been pretty good all season, though, hasn't it? So
I think it's better. I think it's easier to do the work he does in a wide area.
It is.
I think you can get bogged down centrally for is he quick enough to break? If you took the core out and put McNeil there, would it be the same? Not convinced. Yeah. But I think he can wander. You're absolutely right. We saw him pop up in that pocket against Fulham and he equalised. He was central edge of the box and bounced it into the corner. That's great. That's what we want. We want him coming. If you can come in off the wide areas, then the players have got an issue. Does the wide player, their right-hand side player, follow you? Or does he pass him on to a centre midfielder who's already covering 3 players? And that's where you can find the pockets. City do it absolutely brilliantly. The likes of Bernardo Silva and people like that pop in off the wide. Foden does it, comes in from wide areas, and Jack Grealish is brilliant at it, albeit runs with the ball a little bit more. So I wouldn't be tempted to move him.
No.
I think he's doing well in that area. But if Everton moving forward got like another wide player who was quick and they wanted someone a little bit more centre, because he played...
It has to be when that...
Well, it has to be... Well, you've got to have them anyway. Everton have got to have the options anyway. You can't just go, these are all great, these players now, so we don't need anything, because we're still not sure of staying up.
That's right.
But just right now, McNeil especially has picked up the baton and done what Richarlison done last season and gone, all right, then I'll see if I can help, if I can get you out of it. And long may that continue and hopefully develops.
And if you can find him, which is what I think you're saying, is centrally 20 yards from goal.
It's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
My thing to him would be, when you get half a yard, kid, you're either throwing it in the box from a wide area or you're shooting.
Yeah.
Because the keepers parry it, and that's where you want Dom running in, and you want, if it's a Wobie or if it's the Mari Gray, whoever, you want them, the Corey, following in, get shots away. Keepers aren't going to catch everything, are they? And especially the way the kid can hit the ball.
Well, the percentages aren't great on open play crosses, so he should have a dig.
But it's both, though, isn't it? If he finds himself occupying it wide, then throw it in. That's great.
Absolutely.
If you're a bit more sensible, pull the trigger. Yeah. We saw it against Brentford when he just opened his body up, 40 seconds in, 1-0.
Bang.
Fulham, 1-0 down, opens his body up, 1-1. The other night, brilliant.
And what would you say? What's your sort of thoughts about Sunday? More of the same in terms of defending deep. Obviously, City, you can't open up too much against them. But I genuinely believe if we play like we did the other night, and add a bit more caution to our play, but attack at the right times, that we can get something. Now, I know it might be pie in the sky and we might get beat, but I've just got a feeling, second to last home game with so much riding on it, we still need to get another win. What are your thoughts? Do you think we can get something? Because we as fans, I don't think we wanted to go to the last game against Bournemouth, because I think what we have to expect is, as fans, that Leeds, not so much Forest, but Leicester may get a freak result like we did, because no one had us beating Brighton, did they?
That's true.
And we beat Brighton. So I think if we're sort of, if we're complacent now and think, oh, the job's done, then I think we could come unstuck, because we've been beaten by Bournemouth this season. We've been beaten by Wolves. City, very difficult to beat. So head to head, we haven't beat any of them three teams this season. So to expect us to go into them last three games and win one, get 4 points, it's not going to be as easy, I think, as people say. So I think, look at the next game, which is City. It's going to be really difficult, but I think we need to aim to get something. We can't be happy just to have a narrow defeat and not affect our goal difference. We really need to sort of put a positive performance in and go for it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hand it over to John in a sec, but from my perspective, I don't think we could have had better preparation than playing Brighton before City. They're basically City light, aren't they? They play virtually the same way. They're full of energy. I mean, Pep Guardiola had said last week they're the best build-up team in world football. Brighton, okay, he's probably giving them a bit of toffee, because his side ain't too shabby, are they? But I think we've had a great way of, a great kind of like training exercise before we play City. I think with the crowd, if the crowd can be up for it like they have been for so many games, it'll help. And I think we just have to accept, if they play to their full potential, they will beat us. But at least the way I've looked at it, and this might be wrong, if you'd have offered me a point at Brighton and a point against City, I'd be over the moon with that. I'd have gone, tell you what, mate, I'll bite your hand off all day for that. We're already a point up on that. Now, that doesn't mean I'm throwing Sunday, because I think you're right. I think they've had a result last night, which means that tie is very much alive. And that, for me, even though I still think they'll win the Premier League,
they'll make changes.
Even if we beat them, they'll make half a dozen changes maybe. We've got to jump onto that. And I think, who knows? You never know in football. John?
I couldn't say that better, especially using my soundbite of the Man City light Brighton. Yeah, I like that.
I think you took that from me early in the season, but go on, you can have it back.
But no, in all seriousness, you're right about, practicing, how to play. I mean, I think the difference might be, if you imagine that sort of performance that we had at the weekend going on at Goodison, where we're letting, people will know it's Man City and go, well, of course they're going to have a lot of the ball. But the anxiety bit will come from, we'll play narrow. They'll have two players, one on each touchline, and they're going to get the ball with plenty of space and so on. And Deitch will have confidence that his team can do it because they've just done it. And of course, we got a decent result when we played there earlier at their place. Yeah. So I think the fans need to be on it as well and recognise what's likely to happen, which is total dominance of possession by them. Anxiety moments for us, because we're going to see some very good players. Mahrez, for example, I guess will come in, having plenty of time on the ball, and so on. And Mikalenko will have a challenge on his hands as well, and Patterson. But I'm optimistic like you, my friend. We stick to the game plan. They will stick to theirs because they only have one player and one way of playing. And with Goodison, anything could happen. And I don't think it's. I agree with you. It's not about let's keep the goal difference in check. I think it's all right already. Obviously, we lose by a huge margin. It's not going to be. But being in between those two games against Madrid, Pep will make changes. Some of those changes might be associated with this blue team are really fighting for their lives, and I don't want people injured just now. Thank you very much. But all those big names will be on the bench. But he will be wary of bringing them on. So let's try and start and do a good job and make it hard for them, make them know they're in a game. And it's all the normal pep talk stuff, isn't it? But I think, we haven't had our players string together solid performances, have we? But they need to now. They really need to now. And if we get a result out of City, then we'll go to Wolves with our tails up. And if we do against Wolves what we did against Brighton, then they could take a bit of a pasting as well. So they've only got
1-0 off someone's backside. You're not doing me.
Well, of course, but beat City, it's all sorted. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'd like the players to be in the mindset if they don't beat City that they owe sort of Bournemouth and Wolves one. Given,
absolutely right.
Wolves beat us at home and Bournemouth have beat us twice away. And let's be honest, guys, they've got some really good players, but they shouldn't be beating us. And I think if we'd really put the application in the 3 games where we've been beaten by them this season, like we did against Brighton, we probably wouldn't have lost them 3 games. And it's all ifs and buts. But I think it'd be nice if they thought in their head that there's a bit of revenge, because I think that's sort of healthy. Going into them last 2 games, because they're not going to have the same bite that they usually have, because having said that, though, when we play Fulham the other week, everyone thought Fulham were on the beach and they beat us 3-1. So I think we need to just ensure the mentality is right, and I think we'll be fine and stay up. I think we'll get 4 points from the last 3 games, but I think that'll be enough to see us stay up.
Yeah, if we get 4 points from 3 games, I think that'll be enough. I'm not going to say. When you look at the other teams, they've all got tough games as well. It wouldn't surprise me if, someone said before, it could be a scenario where none of the bottom 4 win another game and Everton survive. I look at Leicester and Leeds and go, they could easily not win another game, and Forest. We can't rely on that. We've got to do something, but I think you're right. I think 4 points keeps us up.
I agree, and if we have to, for me anyway, if we have to be guaranteed one thing, no, I don't mean goals and things. It would be no more unforced errors between now and the end of the season.
Just get through this,
because they're what's killed us in recent games.
Absolutely.
And we didn't see anything close to that at the weekend. So
I think if Mina plays, I think for the last 3 games, I think there'll be very little unforced errors. He's out of contract and he'll go, won't he? But I think he gives everyone around him so much confidence to sort of do what they can do. I'm not so sure we'd have scored 5 goals if he wasn't in the team, because I think he allowed the midfield to sort of express themselves a bit more and sort of give Tarkowski etc. a bit more confidence as well. So we'll deal with it in the summer when he goes. We need to look at the defensive situation etc. But it's just nice to be positive for once, isn't it? And not look at the negatives, really.
Absolutely.
No, you're absolutely right. And excluding Seamus, he's the only on-field leader we've seen for many a long time on that pitch. So,
yeah, all good.
Good one, mate. Good
Great.
one.
Nice one, David.
Great show, guys.
Cheers,
Good one,
mate. Take care.
Mate.
Take care, mate.
See you, pal. Ta-ra.
David's right there. It's a bit like you doing your crying in view. 3-0 up and you're trying not to get too carried away. And we could get carried away with optimism.
Absolutely.
So we need to be cautious not to get carried away with, because it does transfer to the players.
Of course it does. Listen, Sunday is as tough a game as you can have.
Yeah.
It's as simple as the best team in the land. They could quite possibly end up the best team in Europe this season.
Treble.
We've got to stick and fight and battle. And if we put a performance in and we get beat,
fair enough.
So be it. We get beat by a better team. Can't lose the momentum. That Brighton result has given us momentum. We've just scored 7 goals in 2 away games. We could have beat Leicester 5-1 by it, 5-3. They had good chance, but we could have scored 5 at Leicester. We had the chances. If we take that same kind of thing to Wolves, we can beat Wolves. We can beat Wolves, who are safe now. So it's haven't quite got the same jeopardy as what we've got. So we give ourselves that opportunity. I think that's massively important.
I agree.
The Blues says arguably only Rashford's been better than Matoma. Yeah, Rashford has been absolutely fantastic as well this season. Absolutely, no question about it. Just got to go
shout,
on.
that.
Yeah, we've just got to. From our perspective, the big thing for me is we've given ourselves such a good chance now. Whereas a few weeks ago, you were still looking at, after Fulham. I'll be honest, I walked out the Fulham game thinking,
"That's it,
we're gone." Because the response shocked me when they went 2-1 up. There was nothing. There was it was just flat. And then Newcastle was just Newcastle when they went 2 up. Was just like, wow, where's this? Where is the fight? Where's the thing? And everyone was feeling sorry for themselves. And you looked at them and like, well, we can't get anything here in these. I know Newcastle are a good side, but then 2 home. We lost 3 of the last 4 home games.
Due a win then.
So would you a win? So you never ever know.
You can't help it, and it's inevitable, isn't it? You can't help.
Is there anyone waiting?
Okay, but you can't help thinking about the points we've given up against the teams around us.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Be mid-table.
It's frustrating. Ricky Kane on the super chat. Thank you very much, Ricky. Much appreciated. Says a great result on Monday. It was so nice to watch an Everton team thrash another side. Feeling a lot more confident about staying up now, up the top. Absolutely, Ricky. Wasn't it lovely to see Everton go out and just thrash them? Because you see other teams have these wins and you go, we never do that. When Palace went to Leeds and won 5-1 the other week, and I was thinking, imagine Everton doing that. We've just done it to one of the best sides in the league.
Absolutely.
So, come on, Everton. Come on. You've sucked me back in with confidence, and I don't, I'm trying to just play it all down. We've got George. I'm going to do this one, then Ped's going to sub me. So, let's have a little listen to what George got to say. Good evening, George.
Hey there. Good evening. Good afternoon where I am. Anyhow.
Where are you calling from?
Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, Canada.
Beautiful. How are you? Are you good?
I'm good. I'm very good. I mean, look at that. We just wrecked a team, and we did it away from home. We don't do either of those.
Correct.
What? This is the same team, the same club that's been taking us all to school on things like player recruitment, on scouting, on player management, on making folks completely interchangeable. I mean, it's like the Borg. They just go to various parts of the world and assimilate folks, and then they're part of the collective. A really good collective.
They are.
And we made them look like chumps.
Mm.
They were in shock, weren't they?
Who is this strange team in pink? What have they done with Everton, and can they keep doing it?
Yes. I can't answer what they've done with Everton, but I hope they keep doing it because it was absolutely fantastic. You know what? Said this the other day. I was absolutely made up for the likes of John, who's gone all over the country this season and has had nothing really. They had 1 win, ironically, on the South Coast.
Indeed.
At Southampton. We were
yeah.
at Fulham together, and we thought we'd won that one till an offside flag came up. But I was made up for those Evertonians who've done it, and have done it continually over the years, to go and have a day like that, where they haven't battled and hung on for a 2-1 scrappy win, and it's giving it all that. They've seen 5 goals, and they've seen Everton could have had more again, but also not against the 15th place team with not much to do. Against a team who are flying, who've just won the last 2 home games without conceding a goal, scoring 7. And we've just gone there and put 5 past them. So for the fans who were fabulous, they were so noisy, you could hear them. I was delighted for that. Absolutely made up for them. Made up for myself, obviously, but made up for that because it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
And this Brighton side, I still think they're going to make a UECL. And I hope they do, because it would be a positive statement for the kind of things they've been doing in the league. Could probably, and maybe if we get the kind of changes we're looking for off season, maybe there is an example that the new administration could learn from.
Absolutely. I mean, me and John John, as you you may have seen, well, you will have seen, we do the business we're playing on Premier, Toffee TV Premier. We're always discussing how can Everton get this recruitment right, how can Everton turn this football club into maybe more Brighton and Brentford like, whereas the recruitment's better and it gets you higher up the league. But John, they have all, I know it's easy when things are going well to go, we should be exactly like them, but there's certainly elements of them that Everton can learn from, isn't it, in terms of the recruitment, turning players over, buying them for 5 and selling them for 40, that kind of thing, which all gets that positive spin going.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I don't think either of those clubs do something, a secret sauce. It's not rocket science, which is why you can have so many, and I'm not being disparaging of anyone, but there's so many amateurs who could probably do a better job than Everton have been doing based on what we see.
Yeah.
And we don't know, of course, what the recruitment team, what the data scientists and so on have been recommending, shall we say.
Of course. Yeah.
When it's so far off what it should be, and I think we've talked about this, as you say, when we do the business talks, that to me, it's our inability to make decisions in a timely way, or to get interference from outside, be it the owner or whatever. And I think those things actually aren't going to be fixed without changing the people. My soundbite, change the people or change the people. Yeah. I think the people we're talking about, which are fundamentally the board and some of their direct reports, have had plenty of time to change for the good. And they're not changed for the good, therefore they need to be changed. Yeah. And I think, my friend, what you're saying is spot on. And I think come the close of the season, we have to see clearly we'll see changes on the sporting side, because players will go and players will come in and so on. Yeah. But the off-field side of it really needs positive change. And one or two, I mean, we might just have one magnificent announcement where everyone goes, oh my God, never saw that come in. That guy is absolutely sensational, and he's going to make the world a better place. And that gets you some momentum and buys some time with the fan base to do what will be quite revolutionary changes in the leadership. Yeah. So I think so. I don't think it's secret what they're doing, and I suspect we're not as far off the pace in actually doing the research and that sort of stuff as we might fear. I think we just need to be smarter at making decisions, and part of that smartness is making them quickly. So let's see. Sadly, unfortunately, we have to wait and see. But making early player decisions, they should have been made already, actually.
Absolutely. It's amazing that it's amazing. But another thing is, when we had the Newcastle result, and when with Isaac.mp4 with the amazing 45 minutes against the run of play goal in our net, despite all that, I thought we were hosed, and I was ready to basically duck out of paying attention to Everton until like June. October or something. But I guess not. Huh? I mean, we're not completely out of it, but we can see the way out from here. And hi, cat. That was just my cat.
What's name?
Prim. She's cute. Prim.
Oh, fair enough. Hello, Prim.
That sounds like a girl cat. Yeah.
P-R-I-M-M, and yes, she is. Anyhow, and I had this thing that I like to bring up and talk with, say, Twitter folks and others, called the FOOKHED-O-meter with multiple different levels. Sound, which we'll never reach until we're confirmed safe. A bit nervy. A mad one, which is where we are now. Hooked. Completely on its ass. And absolutely devoted. And drowning in its own shite. And where we were after Newcastle. Drowning in its own shite with the fucking battering ram. I'm going up from the winter soldier lad.
This is
going
to be the clip for
George is hilarious with the win, isn't he?
He is fantastic. Yeah.
And it's amazing how we've managed to recover from that kind of state. We should never have gotten to where we were the second time in a row. That's a joke. No, but right now, we're just riding our recovery from that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And once we're confirmed safe, I think the best, most accurate response should be just clapping, just a brief clap for the performance that led to that safety, and then simply walking out of the day, and then calling for those changes that we've needed for a long time. Once out of the grounds.
I think you're being up. I think people. I understand the sentiment. I just think too many people will have had too many sleepless nights and spent a long arse months worrying about whether we'd stay up to just go, oh, right, I'm going. I think there would be an outpouring of relief, but you're absolutely right. What I think can happen is us to go, yay, we stayed up, everything's all right now, and it will all be sorted and walk out. However, I do also think there will be changes this summer.
Yeah, I think that the changes are inevitable.
Yeah,
now,
absolutely.
But I think there's also another thing, which is talking about what the fans have done again this season and so on. If there was any doubt on what the fans' view is of what needs to happen, then the best environment, I suppose, for that to happen, consistent with what you've just suggested, my friend, is that we get confirmed safe away to Wolves.
Yeah.
We all have a rip-roaring time after that game, and then we come to the last game knowing we're staying up. Apart from the fact none of us will be stressing,
which would be nice, wouldn't
then there'll be an ideal opportunity for the wider fan base and the campaigns and stuff like that to make it crystal clear what you just said, Baz, which is, guys, just because we've stayed up doesn't mean we think everything's rosy in the garden.
Because that can't be our aim.
We cannot keep, going to this and expecting to get away with it.
Yeah.
Because if we stay up, we'll have got away with it 2 years in a row.
More so this year, won't it?
Very much more so this year. And the rotating door of managers and all sorts of things, it's just got to stop.
And players.
And players, of course. But it has got to the point where nothing less than changing the people is going to be appropriate. So, but let's keep the focus on winning the games first. And,
entirely.
But I'm with you, Baz. Sorry, my friend. I'm not just going to stand there and clap if we've just stayed up with a 97th minute winner at Goodison Park.
For God's sake, don't invade the pitch this time.
But again,
I get it last year, but
human nature, though, mate.
It's impulsive.
Honestly, right?
It's impulsive.
I get it, and you're saying I understand.
I know it's easier said than done.
It is, and the sentiment of that, but when the pressure is palpable like it is, you can cut it with a knife. This is people. It's the outpouring of emotion. It's too easy to go, I wouldn't do that, but in the moment you do. But you're right as well. We shouldn't be celebrating staying up. Relief, absolutely. We have to get away from it being our only aim is to not be in a relegation battle. A couple of years ago, we were talking about trying to qualify for the Champions League. And 2 years later, we're on our second relegation battle.
10 managers later.
Exactly. So there has to be a source of stability, and it has to be as soon as possible. And like you say, a lot of what you're saying is correct, but you've also got to look at the human nature and the human worry of
course.
Stuff. Because that's what football is, isn't it? That's what football is. It's emotion.
It is that, yes. I'd say a lot of other sports. I don't follow most other sports, but yeah, football for sure. But football stands out for me probably because of it's the sport I follow. If I followed basketball, I'd probably know some more in basketball.
Yeah.
Also, the thing about all that is maybe I'm also a little bit more detached because I don't live in the city. I'm like 2,000 kilometers away across the Atlantic, and that's why I don't feel it as intensely, maybe. But I'm still a Toffee.
Of course you're that. Of course you're that. It's just that it is that issue of it's just difficult to say to people don't react in that way because that Palace thing was. I said I never wanted to have to go through it again for Everton because you shouldn't have to, but it was still an incredible game of football to be at, and the scenes at the end were incredible. They were. I've seen Everton win the league and have them kind of things, beat Bayern Munich, with FA Cup wins, Cup winners, Cup wins, charities, all of that great stuff, that good stuff. But the Florida, who can forget the Florida Cup? The emotion after winning that and the Australia Cup, you know. But it when your relief is there and you can just go for 3 months, well, for a year, isn't it? For a year, I can with a Premier League team again, which is terrible that we should have to say it. And this is why we're calling for change. This is why people are marching. This is why people are saying there has to be changes at our football club. When it happens in that moment, your emotions overwhelm you.
It's nearly 30 years since we invented the phrase "never again."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And we won the cup the year after, so maybe.
So who knows? Ned's got us winning the league after Brighton next year, so you never ever know. You never ever know.
Jesus, wouldn't that
did
be
it? Gone full Leicester.
Doing a Newcastle without having to drown ourselves in oil.
Exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But Leicester did it.
Baz would take the oil money, wouldn't you, Baz?
Oh God! If he got me a league or something, I'd just take a few 5-1s. I'd just take a few more Mondays.
Is that why you're in the upper Bullens, so you never have the temptation to
run on the pitch? Yeah. Although Zach did say to me, "Can we go down and get on the pitch?" I was like, "Oh mate, it's Boss from up here. Look, there's Ped," because Ped was waving to me on the pitch, of course, but. It's all good.
That's all good.
Yeah, I'd need a ladder to get over the Hordens, wouldn't I? So there you go.
Yeah, and it's still a far cry from like last year when I honestly thought some folks that I recognize would probably have ended up in Walton because we would have gotten the bad ending last year and things would have gotten ugly.
Mm.
Like Saint Etienne ugly, Carataro. Well, maybe not Carataro ugly, but Saint Etienne ugly. Frankfurt ugly.
Yeah. Put it this way, Bournemouth will be intimidated if we need anything from that game.
Yes.
Won't they? So let's not do it. Let's do it. Let's do it before then. Let's get something Sunday and go to Wolves and smash them.
Yeah.
And go bats for the 96-minute winner at Goodison, you shitbags. Yes. Let's get the win there.
Yeah.
And then we can we'll chill out.
Yeah, we'll nick a win off of you in the last 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Compared to you at your place.
Exactly.
How about that?
That's George. That I am with you there. I'm fully Jorded up
finish
there.
on that.
That's a great way to finish.
It is, yeah.
Go there and nick that win off them.
Yeah. You enjoy it.
We talked Brighton a lesson after they made a fool of us at our place, and everyone was very, very pissed off.
Yeah.
There aren't as many Brighton fan channels. Luke Links was mostly chill about it.
Okay.
And that's okay. Not every team has a large fan channel thing going on. Brentford doesn't. And Brentford doesn't have to have it if it doesn't.
That's why Evertonians are so lucky to have Toffee TV. Yeah.
We're just all loons, Evertonians.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. That's
but
the way it is.
We're so active on social media and all that.
We're friggin' ridiculous.
We're ready.
That's the thing about Evertonians. We're all friggin' ridiculous.
Imagine if something we saw Monday, and that was the overriding thought. And I'm gonna bin you now, George, because I really do need a toilet break. But all I would say is, I sat there on Monday and said, "This is what it must be like supporting a good side and seeing these wins." You know what I mean?
Because we've
been so starved of it.
The emotions, though.
No, but imagine. You being able to go and see that 2 or 3 times a season away, 5-1 here, destroying teams.
Back in the day, every week.
Oh no, every day. Listen, we've seen them at the best, and that was great. But it's going to be interesting, right, Jord? I'm going to bing you now. So thank you very much for calling from 2,000 kilometres away or whatever it was in Nova Scotia, and make sure you call us again. Take care, mate. Cheers, mate. There you go, Big Jord. Here's the sub. Pedro's on. Who knows what can happen now?
What? Shut up.
It's his camera.
Yeah. Well, why didn't you tell people that? Didn't you tell it? You're supposed to be the producer. I don't know why I put my headphones on. You're supposed to be the producer. You're setting a terrible example to Gemma. The same wave page. What's a wave page?
What's a wave page? Oh, okay.
You stop talking about your length.
Nothing to talk about, is it?
No, nothing to talk about there. Yeah. Any more callers, Ned?
Yeah, Brian Garside.
Any more callers, Ned? Only messing. Get Brian on.
Come on, Bri.
Is he on?
Oh. So he's supposed to put
Evening, people.
Go on, Bri. You all right, mate?
Yeah, fine. Well, fine, of course, very fine.
Good, good,
mighty
good.
mighty fine. After Monday,
Just
I'd
before
like
we
to say it's a win.
just before we get into the football, you are in Sweden, so how excited are you for Eurovision?
I can go and vomit.
Hang on, isn't it like the Swedish national?
It's like this Eurovision Song Contest site. If I had 12 guests for a 4-meal dinner,
Yeah.
I would rather wash the dishes and all the pots and pans than watch that garbage.
But isn't it like the national pastime in Sweden?
It is. They love it over here. They're crazy. They
Yeah.
all meet up and get dressed up in silly clothes and have a sing and a dance and consume copious amounts of alcohol.
That sounds like an amazing time. What's wrong with you, Bri?
It's awful.
It's not. No, mate. I'm not having this. I'm not having. Eurovision is amazing.
Well,
Number one,
I'm
it's
quite
amazing.
glad
And
that
number,
you are having it.
and number two, it's
Quite
in
literally.
Liverpool, and it's going to be the best one ever. And there's nothing you can
I
do
know.
about it, Brian Garside.
And you're very welcome to it.
Yeah, but if you,
The thing is about this thing is Sweden is probably the only country which actually wants to win it.
no, I'll tell you what, mate. Liverpool really wanted it. It's absolutely booming here. So
A
There you
host
go.
city's one thing, but now they actually go through rounds of competition to qualify to be chosen.
boss, mate.
It really is
Oh,
awful.
Come on, get excited about it. Go on. What do you got to say anyway?
Well, I'm going to drop your name twice, actually.
Go on.
Bong. Firstly, the Brighton. Let's not get carried away. Hey? We're Evertonians. We know what this club can do to us.
Absolutely.
Right, so we get that done. The big tactical change I noticed was clever was Iwobi and McNeil dropping deeper to cover the fullbacks.
Yeah.
So we're both getting the bums whacked, which is very good. Like to see that. Should we stay up? It's pure, I would say, it's down to Pickford more than anyone else over the season with his performances. But that's not why I'm really throwing. I'm glad John's there because I'm going to go into a point which is covered. We've got an American on earlier. The book Toffee Soccer.
Oh yeah.
I know John's got it because his name's in the back of it. And even what annoyed me, I was reading the chapter about why they chose Everton or became Evertonians or why they'd be chosen. And it really got me rather annoyed because it's all about being the plucky underdog, the guy fighting to get to the top and to become the best. Well, then, when John and I started supporting, and even you and Baz, we were the best. We were one of the top dogs. We were the one that we've taken the march, and we were respected and looked up to, and players were queuing up to come and play for us. And what's happened?
No,
Where are we now?
I agree, mate.
And it was touched on this afternoon. I was listening to the podcast in the car on the way home. Buzz said about the Premier League and the amount of money that certain clubs got more than certain clubs got more money than others because of live appearances.
Yeah.
And but where are we now? Where are we now? We're fighting relegation year after year.
Yeah.
We should be one of the top clubs. We're one of the top dogs. That's where we've always been through our history, apart from a couple of seasons.
No.
And where are we now?
No,
Fighting relegation.
You're right, mate. I get actually a lot of stick for maybe the standards I believe Everton Football Club should be set at, but John and Baz were alluding to it there. It's almost like a joke. It's amongst some fans of like you're not allowed to have aspirations or think you should be doing it. Something you've just said actually is a key point, and it wasn't something that sort of got brought to my attention. I'm sure John will come in on this now, but the financial gain that is given to clubs just for being live on telly is a disgrace. Yeah, I know it's been going on since the Premier League started, but it was only something that hit me recently when I was like, this is just. You've basically fashioned the league the way you want it by putting certain teams on who are the most popular people who sit at home and watch it. So therefore, you're just aiding those people more and more and more. It's just nonsense, that to me.
Oh, it's
Would it
business.
not be better to view it as the entire the Premier League is the whole product?
Yeah.
And all the finances should be shared equally.
That's the way I believe, yeah. But maybe John's got a different
It's like,
opinion.
as opposed to Spain, where 2 clubs get just about everything.
Yeah.
And that is why they are the only 2 clubs.
Well, there's
And even though they are assisted financially in other ways, in other aspects, which we won't go into,
politics.
it's clearly not fair. It's not sport.
Go on, John.
Well, there's a couple of things about that, isn't it? The last bit, perhaps address that first, where you say it's not fair, it's not sport. The team who finishes top gets more money than the team who finishes bottom. That's fair to me.
Yeah, that's fair. I've
Right.
no issue with that.
So
John.
that part of it, the actual being on TV bit is a difficult one because, of course, the rights holders, no matter where they are in the world, are buying the rights because they want their own business to grow. Imagine Sky if they just lost Premier League football.
Oh yeah.
You know, and it's the advertising that
Which
comes.
they will, I think, in the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, well, they need their own streaming service, don't they, Premier League? But their own advertising that they do, the attraction to their channels, the packages they sell, blah blah blah, and it's just a fact of competitive environments that if Manchester United are actually got the biggest fan base in the world, perhaps certainly amongst Premier League clubs, then you want to get as many of them as you can, and the best way to get as many of them as you can is by having them on telly. And you only have to look at their games always live on the FA Cup, for example. Now, it does create, once you've got competitive advantage through money, you do end up with a step, don't you, a gap where you look at, unless they have really poor seasons like Chelsea are having now, certain clubs are always going to finish in the top 6. Therefore, by definition, they're always going to get more money than all the other clubs. Yeah, A, because they're in the top 6, where the best money comes from. B, because they'll have been in the competitive situation. Therefore, they're more of the games and so on. But ultimately, you get turkeys voting for Christmas, which is crazy because the Premier League is owned by its clubs, so the shareholders are the clubs. And they could just have a vote and say, we're going to change this so it's distributed equally. And they don't, because what they actually feel, and I think they may be nearer to right than wrong, is that if the Super League happened and these so-called big, my treacherous 6 walk away, then the value of the Premier League rights would go down. Sky would play less, BT would play less, whoever would play less. But there'd be a normalisation as well.
Yeah.
There'd be a normalisation, and I think over a reasonable period of time, the competitive nature of the Premier League would actually get enhanced. Therefore, the games would become more exciting. The Premier League title itself wouldn't be 1 or 2 clubs running away from everyone else. It could be what the relegation thing's like now. Few games from the end, per many 3 from 6 or 7 or whatever it might be. But they haven't got the testicular to do that.
No.
There's too many vested interests, not just the actual clubs themselves, but the employees within the clubs who all get paid too much simply because they work for a Premier League club, blah, 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 blah. And I think, Brian, you nailed it when you said it's about the Premier League as a product that these businesses are interested in, rather than as a competitive. It's wrong to say not as a competitive thing, because the competitive thing is what brings some of the excitement and all those sorts of things. But they clearly want Manchester United to be in and around the top of the league, winning cups and so on, because of the fan base that they bring with them.
And that's where it'll be interesting if they do go to a streaming platform, because then all the games will be live, and therefore
they'll find out who's really attractive.
Well, yeah, and you won't need a team. Every team will be live, so therefore there won't be any extra money for being live. There won't be any extra. I'm sure there'll still be like the game of the weekend, or maybe every single game will have a time slot. But you won't have that thing of like, well, we're on, so we get extra money.
I think you will. All the games will be live, and they'll say Man United's game always has twice as many viewers as all the other ones. Therefore, Man United will say, we want more money.
Yeah, but they don't have a right to it, though.
No, they don't have a right, but if the dumb schmucks turkeys who vote for Christmas, the other 14 clubs vote for it, because, we're scared of them going away, then it's just cutting the pie in a slightly different way.
Well, they're already getting that, aren't they, from the international money? The top, that
was the wedge between them. That was to say, well, international growth, we get more of that. I mean, just put all the money in a pot and just say
Yeah.
the team who's on top of the league at the end of the season gets 200 million, the team who's on the bottom gets 50, and you're on your way. Now, you rightly go, "Oof," because they've already got that disparity that's been long established. Just do a reverse grids thing where the bottom team gets the most money. That'd be fun.
Well, that would be actually would be like that'd be your American sports, wouldn't it?
It would, to keep it
Equivalent.
level.
You don't get the first pick in the draft, but actually you get more money than everybody else.
That's right.
But imagine Everton like right now where we'd be like, we don't really want to move. This place is the best place to be because we'll get the most money.
Well, you'd need rules to make sure that
Yeah,
extra money has
yeah.
to be reinvested in your team rather than just go into the shareholders' pockets. But I mean, if a lot of the American owners get their way, then all these clubs are going to become incredibly profitable.
Yeah, well, they are already.
And
That's the
then
thing,
we'll be
isn't it?
complaining that the money's actually going out the game. Then
But the problem is, it's like you mentioned, like Chelsea at the moment. It's that thing, isn't it? Of like, oh, we can't be here because not only are we out of the Champions League places, but we're way down on what our finances are.
Oh, totally.
And then so next year they'll pump even more money in, and then the risk factor are even more because of how much more money they've pumped in, and that's the worry, isn't it? That you will get that.
Do you know what's going to be shocking? What'll be shocking, and you're right about Chelsea because clearly that's they've got the money, but you're still going to allegedly have profit and sustainability and financial fair play and things, is when a club the size of Chelsea are going to be in breach of that, they'll change the rules.
Well, yeah,
and that'll be shocking.
could be soon. Could be soon.
And it's overdue, isn't it? So. Good point, though.
Go on, Bri.
Basically, when I'm living abroad and meeting people from all different nations I've done in my travels, people say, what attracts you about English football? Why do you have a team? The thing comes back to, well, it's exciting. Okay, why is it exciting? Because everybody can more or less beat everybody on the day. So therefore, you're not saying at the start of the season, okay, these 4 teams can win it and these 6 teams can go down. You're saying, well, any of these 8 or 9 teams could win it because the teams are more closely together in terms of quality of players and squads and whatever. And so making it more exciting will attract more supporters to all clubs.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah.
Now, that is the basics of English football. That's what it's grounded on. That's what's made it popular in the first place. And what I think's happened is that because of the forced popularity, put it that way, that the Premier League shooting itself in its foot. It's ruining its own product by making it a small elite group. It's making it less competitive. It makes the games less exciting. Monday, look at the results at the weekend. Wow. Why was that? Because you've got teams who are quite similar in their levels who go for it, go to win the game.
Yeah.
It's not like watching Real Madrid and Man City last night. There was times that I was watching 22 professional men standing still and 2 players passing the ball back and forth to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's the best they can do. I know, okay, they cancel each other out and tax, blah, blah. But the thing is, you should not have 22 players standing still on a football pitch at any level, unless it's Sunday morning. Let's be honest. I'm going to watch my lad play. He kicks off in half an hour. And I'll tell you, these guys turn up and they go for it. They do whatever they can. They're not the best condition in their lives, but you know what? They do what they can and they move. They don't stand still if they don't have to. And this is what you want to see. You want to see competitive matches because, as I said, the more competitive the games, the more excited the audience, which will, of course,
the thing
grow.
is, though, Bri, just going back, you talking about City and Real Madrid, I never watch first legs of games because I just don't see the point.
Yeah,
so maybe we have to get to a place where we're not having.
There's either that or Eurovision.
Oh, Eurovision's
So,
amazing, mate. I won't take that kind of slander. I just won't take that kind of slander. Eurovision's amazing.
I don't watch the first half of live games when I'm not there. I'm watching it on telly.
Honestly, first legs
Until
I
the
never
Jeopardy
watch.
comes in.
But
It was not Eurovision, so there's no contest.
I watched Eurovision last time, not asked.
I obviously did.
But what I would say, but the Premier League generally gets what it wants, and what it wants is what it's got this season, which is a very, very competitive league with your Brentfords of the world, your Brightons of the world, your Newcastles of the world doing really, really well. But in those last final weeks, the establishment creeps back. Look at Liverpool this season.
Yeah.
This is almost a perfect season
Striding into
for
top
Sky.
four.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if they're not in the top like 1 or 2, this is what Sky want and other TV channels. They want Liverpool struggling and then going for that last run,
10 in a row,
and then suddenly it's Man United versus Liverpool for the final place. Well, hang on, Newcastle are not safe. So actually, they like Newcastle, but wouldn't it be great if Man United or Liverpool got 3rd? The other one got 4th, and then Newcastle just missed out. Oh, the heartbreak. And in the summer, they'll have to go and spend loads of money and have another go next season. That's exactly what the TV wants. They want a brilliant storyline, but all the familiar people go into the places at the end. That's them. That's a perfect year for Sky, that.
Yeah,
so,
fully agree.
You know, and we've seen that in the
my
last few
original
years,
point
like with
about
Leicester.
But
Premier League needs someone out the top 6 to win it again.
Yeah, definitely. Just to refresh it.
Yeah. So if they're going to fiddle it so we win it. Yeah.
Yeah, honest.
I think maybe a point for juicy topic, something is my original point of why people chose Everton and being the underdogs. But we were the best. We should be up there. And as you said, that the football is governed, if you want to put it that way, by the vested interest to make sure that certain large clubs with large supporter groups are always up and around semi-finals, finals, top Europe. I'm no argument with that at all. I'm full agreement.
I suppose
it annoys me
and
intensely.
the only thing I would say, but I do agree with you completely. I do hate the way Everton are seen, not from the outside as such, but from its own fan base, which almost looks down on people for wanting that ambition or thinking we did not that we don't deserve. No team deserves anything. So on one hand, it does annoy me all that when people are like, well, what do you expect, or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. But the other side of it, football has changed over the years. You know, you did get you got your Preston North End, your Huddersfields, these clubs who were huge, and then the next minute they're not huge. And hopefully that's not where we're heading. But football now, you used to say it went round and it was cyclical, it went round in circles. But now those circles are getting really big, really, really big, and then you're getting the new people on the block, aren't you, with your Man Cities and your Chelseas, and when I say new people on the block,
but that wouldn't be allowed anymore.
Yeah, that's it.
But let's not forget though,
Because
while we're saying that we talk about the Sky 6, don't we?
Yeah, yeah.
It used to be a Sky 4.
Yeah.
So why can't it be a Sky 8? Which is what Brian says. Top half are all up for winning the thing, and the bottom half are all trying to avoid relegation.
They're gonna have, if they want that, something's gonna have to change though. And last year I spoke about the possibility of having like playoffs for that last European space.
Yeah,
they're gonna have to change something fundamentally.
Champions League one, you mean?
No, for the last European place.
Oh, the Europa League.
Europa League, or whether it's conference. Thing. I'd have a playoffs to keep everybody interested. Because all
in the top half.
Everyone. Well, it could go down to, if you look at the league table,
who stays up.
It could be. But it could be. I mean, this year it'd be what to like say Chelsea. Imagine Chelsea had an opportunity now to still get in Europe. They'd be every game tooth and nail. And then when they play Forest on Saturday, you're thinking, Chelsea have got something to go for here. This isn't like I know it's not going to be an easy game anyway, but you're looking at thinking these have got something to go for. Maybe that's what they're going to have to do. Just change something to just keep everybody going to that final game. So
quite possibly.
Nice one, Bri.
Good one, Brian.
Go and watch your son's game, mate.
Is he going to win?
No, you do all right tonight.
Nice one.
Good one.
Good to speak to you, Bri.
Take
See
care,
you later, mate.
Take care now.
That was me.
There you go.
Bye-bye.
There you go. Ned, what are you doing with that stick?
Who's on? Are we talking?
Yeah. I'm just looking for the comments.
Anyone in your waiting room?
Ned's clocked off. Ned clocks off at 6:30. He's literally trying to pass the baton. The mighty Bush's the snakeful 6. I mean, it's just...
I like treacherous.
Yeah, treacherous is...
Could we have a poll or something, or just a whole programme on what our favourite adjectives to describe that 6? What's yours?
Begins with T, ends with S. It's got a W in it, so saying no more. YouTube algorithm will kick me off. Let me just get back into the comments.
Come on, Ped.
I know. I'm not used. As I said last week, John. Though this is the club call, not the comments call. So I'm just taking my time to get someone. Ned can get someone on the lines. I'm doing it on purpose.
If you're listening, you'll get through straight away right now.
Dick L says it's funny to hear fans talk about the Brighton win as something we never do. You can always tell how long somebody has supported Everton by comments like that, because I've supported Everton 40 years and my Everton do get wins like that. I think everyone has forgotten Everton is still a top 5 successful club, and we need to return to the days when going away to a team like Brighton and easily beating them is not that big of a deal. I hope some of these newer fans get the opportunity to support the real Everton that they deserve that. There you go. There you go. John, can you remember what your first big away win was that you went to?
I'm rubbish at remembering away games.
Okay. So my first big away win that I can remember.
Well, games full stop, I don't remember.
Was Manchester City. The end of the first Premier League season. We beat them 5-3. Is it 5-3 or 5-2? 5-2. 5-2. We were so comfortable that we took Nev off at half time and put Jason Keaton in. I was standing. The Kipex was at the end was partitioned, and our fans were in the Kipex. We were rained. Yeah, Kipex. We were rained on all day with pies and coins. And it was my back of a Barnes bus, first ever away game with me mate. I was only in, what was I in? Second or third year of senior school. And it was just one of the best away games.
About 14.
Ever. Salmon Ping, bit precky, doing the business. Oh,
reminiscing
it was
now.
Unbelievable. And then the second one was Sheffield Wednesday away. Second to last game of the season, 95-96. Andre Kanchelskis hat-trick. We won 5-2 in that as well. Oh, what a day. All white kit. It was just beautiful. Absolutely destroyed them, we did. Beautiful. I don't think I've been to any other away games where we got 5, but you know. Yeah. So they were 30 years ago.
Not bad,
but they were good days. They were good days. Where you did see the occasional Everton away win. Glenn Oliver says QPR 1, Everton 5, Latchford got 4. There you go. Let us know if you can remember. Right, we've got John on the line.
Remember a home game?
Boys,
Everton
can
8,
you hear me?
John, are you there?
Hiya, John.
Can you hear me?
Go on,
Yes,
where you calling from, John, just to educate the listeners?
Beautiful St. Louis, Missouri.
There you go,
Home
St.
of
Louis.
St. Louis City SC.
St. Louis with the big, massive arch and
nothing to do with McDonald's.
No, the home of people who have American football stadiums stolen from them.
Teams.
Well,
yeah, twice.
Yeah,
it happened twice.
There you go.
The Cardinals and the Rams. So, but anyway, well, it's interesting. I actually wasn't planning on talking about this, but you guys made some excellent points earlier with Bry. So, without telling my story again, because he kind of asked about whatever. So, the analogy I can give is I basically chose Everton because it was a fixer-upper, right? So we weren't in the Sky 4 at the time, but it had a strong, proud history, so it had to have both for me.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So because I mean, at the end of the day, it's more is it more satisfying to inherit money or to earn it? You know, so that's one mentality, I guess I could say. You know, everybody's going to come in at different times. I certainly don't fault any Americans who came in when we had Americans playing for us. That wasn't my deal. We had, I came in post McBride and Preki and Joe Max Less, and before Tim Howard and Landon Donovan. So that wasn't the main driver for me. But like if somebody says, "Hey, I started rooting for Everton because Landon Donovan or Tim Howard play," I wouldn't. That's fine. More the merrier, right? Well, I should probably warn them against it, but we're all going to do what we're going to do. But the other interesting point I think that you guys were making is about sort of the money aspect of it. And I think both of you, but maybe especially John, I do find it ironic that America is seen as this bastion of unrestrained capitalism and blah, blah, blah. Yet our sports leagues are the most
socialist. I've said this lots of times. Yeah.
It's amazing, but in a way, it's sneaky smart.
It is,
right?
yeah.
So it seems socialistic on the outside, but the NFL, as I think John made the point, or maybe it was you, is they see the product as the league.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Not the Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they want parity.
Yeah.
Or not parity in the sense that everybody's the same, but parity of opportunity. So you can see a team like the Jaguars, right, owned by the guy who owns Fulham as well.
That's right, yeah.
Who had the first pick in the draft 2 years ago, selected the right guy, got rid of their coach, got a good coach in, and now all of a sudden they were in the playoffs last year, and now they're contending. So literally 2 years away from having, a terrible season, they're now, potentially going to be competing for championships. And, to me, that's good. Because it's not about, everybody's got their own brand. I mean, the Cowboys are a brand, but they make their extra money through merchandise sales
and car park
yeah,
spaces.
yeah, exactly. They don't make it through TV revenue, which is all split equally, and everybody has the same salary cap, so everybody can spend the same amount of money. And I love both. But if I could wave a magic wand and change one thing about the Premier League, I think it would be more equal distribution of revenue. And it would be some sort of a salary cap. I don't know how you make that work when you're in a bigger market, which includes Europe. But Europe also gives you an opportunity to, like the Brightons and the Brentfords, to get cheaper players who you've never heard of. It's interesting because just this morning before this came on, I was just browsing YouTube, and there was a thing about Napoli, who just won Serie A. Yeah. And I saw it's not an exact comparison, but I did see some parallels, right? So I mean, they hadn't won a championship since 1990. We hadn't won one since 87. But one of their supporters they were interviewing and said, this Scudetto is not a product of luck. It's a product of, wait for it, long-term planning.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately what we're missing. And, and so to sort of go against what I just said, there's no amount of revenue sharing or, whatever that you could change that's going to fix when you have incompetent people in places where they need to be competent. So, that's sort of my take on it. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully we do. We have been making a lot of good hires. It does seem like, sort of the Dan Rices of the world and some of those announcements, they really slide under the radar, but that is how you build not a backroom staff. That's how you build an organizational structure, by bringing in people who are good at their jobs and putting them in a job and giving them the authority to do those jobs.
That's the key, that last bit.
I hope that's the path we're on. So enough with the money part. So the other point I wanted to make was, isn't it amazing how when Everton wins, the air smells sweeter, food tastes better, you can actually hear the birds singing. Like it's really incredible how my mood turned. And unfortunately, I had to take a new job, which doesn't allow me to necessarily sit and watch the games because they're on during the day here. But it was just, I was so incredibly anxious, because not only because of the situation, but because I'm trying to watch it on my phone. I'm trying to take my lunch break where I can watch the game. And literally I'm like walking outside when the game started, to try to get a few minutes of the opening. And I don't know why I must have had a premonition, but I was like, well, I want to watch the first 5 minutes just in case something happens. And literally as I'm walking outside, the ball's in the net. And I was just like, wait, did that just happen? Like what's going on? So then final point, and I'm going to take a cue from earlier, all caps, if we stay up, I may have a little bit more faith in youth and young players than most people do, but I would really, really love to sort of set down a principle of, we're happy to pay money for players who are going to come directly into the starting lineup and are going to make an instant impact. Beyond that, I really want us to see Tom Cannon. I really want to see Ellis Sims continue to grow. I really want to bring back Branthwaite, which you talked about, right? Who have, in various different guys that have proven themselves on loan, even if they're just squad players who get time where they can get it, cup games, injuries, things like that. I've said for a long time, what's the point of having an academy if you're not going to promote these guys and put them, again, not necessarily right into the starting lineup, but just put them in the squad and see them every day and see what they can do. I mean, we have an entire squad full of players who are way too much money, earn way too much money, and don't play. What is the point of that? We don't play in 12 competitions like Man City. You know what I mean? So thoughts on that?
Go on, John.
Works for me. I mean, at the end of the at the end of the day,
long question, short answer, right?
No. It does work for me, but I think the key, and I think you alluded to it at the start, which is clearly you still go to the transfer market to buy players who can go straight into the 11 and make the 11 better.
Right.
But you've also got to have a pathway for younger players, because growing
Correct.
your own is a bit more cost effective than the serial failures that we've had. Because even if you are pretty good at what you do from a buying of players perspective, you're still going to not get 100% right every time. And therefore you look at the guys from across the park. They've got a £50 million midfield player there who's going to go at the end of his contract and has done nothing while he's been here. But if you've got big buying power, and Man City had numerous failures, in the sense of players didn't play and then they finished a contract and moved on. So I think you do have to have a balance, and I think we talked about it on the channel last week about whether Sean Dyche was prepared to give youth a chance. Forced into playing Patterson. After Leicester, he looked shocked that Patterson had played reasonably well, which was astonishing when he says he watches players every day in training, but there you go. And we talked about earlier on in Club Call about we have got a smattering of young players already. But when you've got a Branthwaite out on loan, winning cups, playing in the Champions League, you've got to be able to sell him a pathway into the first team.
What you want is a Mason Holgate to go out the club, or a Michael Keane to go out the club, and a Branthwaite to replace him. You want a Tom Davis to go out to the club, and you want whoever, I don't know whether it's someone coming through, or what, Lewis Warrington, let's just say.
Just pick him.
You know what I mean?
That's another one, yeah.
That's
Mills.
what you want, isn't it? You want you want a Mopai to go out, and you want Tom Cannon to replace him. That's what you want. Whether they're good enough or not, we'll have to wait and see. But that's what you want. You want a Stanley Mills to be on the bench,
absolutely,
rather than a Gray. Let's just say, someone came in and said, I'll give you £8 million, £9 million for Gray. The way it is at the moment, you'd probably have to say, well, I'll take that money. And
at first, you'd be surprised someone was offering it.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But then you say, well, yeah, I'll take that money and I'll put Stanley Mills on the bench, and I think they're the smart choices we're going to have to make the next year or so, because the finances aren't great. Even if we stay in the Premier League, it's still going to be very, very tough next season to bring in real talent.
Yeah, but we just said a few minutes ago that again the poor buying means we have players who are sitting on the bench who cost us 20, 25 million quid, maybe somewhere on between £50,000 and £100,000 a week, and actually are pretty pissed off because they're not playing. Yeah. And there's a young, vibrant, hungry guy getting nowhere near it. And the matchday squad is 20 players. Yeah. The ninth substitution isn't going to get on the field. So why isn't he the next big thing, or you hope is the next big thing? And a game like we just had against Brighton, where you're 4-1 up with 5 minutes to go, you can send a kid on, can't you? Well, you really can. And I, on the way back home, we listened to the radio on the way home from the Brighton game, and one of the things on the channel was the 10 of the top 12 players, people ringing in, who scored the youngest players to score goals in the Premier League. And in the top 10, 3 of them played for Everton, right? And yet we forget that. Yeah. And you've got to give people opportunity. Look what Ellis Sims did at Chelsea. If you bring that young player on and that's all he does all season, and that gets you a point, and that's the point that keeps you up, then it was worthwhile, wasn't it? So you're right. I think you need a plan, Ped, and your caller's right as well. It's got to be a Tom Davis is going out, who's coming in, and have almost like a set of rules about who that coming in player is, age and
you need
and so on.
That plan needs to be put in place.
Should be in place
ahead of time as well, because you don't want to. What I mean by that is, you want to be able to look at a player and say, in a year or 2 years, he's going to be ready to go, and he's going to be a first teamer. So what I don't want to do is block his pathway by bringing in this player or that player.
Exactly right.
Everton could look at left backs in the summer, and who knows, the kid who was on the bench a few weeks ago could be within a year ready to be our first team left back, and have you just blocked this path for the sake of a year? And I know people go, well, but sometimes you've got to make those decisions, or you say, well, you know what, we'll bring in an experienced left back for a year.
Do you know what you need? Because managers do short-term thinking.
Yeah, go on, John.
That's like a director of
maybe
football.
You could have like a football director.
Yeah.
John, that's an amazing idea. You should tell Everton about that.
Yeah.
That's
going to be our differentiator.
That could be the plan.
Ironically, Yeah, I was going to say, ironically, we talk about the Brightons and the Brentfords of the world. Well, that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Brighton. They lost their manager and, arguably maybe their best player, or one of their best players to Chelsea. And yet they're 4 or 5 places ahead of Chelsea. It's like, because they're not afraid to let people go because they have the confidence that they can replace them with either, in the case of Brentford, they do an amazing job of pulling from the lower leagues. In Brighton's case, they do an amazing job of scouting Europe and getting, cheaper players in. Whereas I think, we have a very strong academy, and Brentford doesn't even have one. And I don't know. I mean, obviously Brighton's got that Ewan Ferguson. It looks.
Well, I was just about to mention him, right? If Mopai stays, right, and they have a sort of.
Please don't say that.
No, if he stayed at Brighton.
Okay.
If he'd stayed at Brighton and he had and they operated like Everton do, which is like, well, you're a senior player, you must play or you must be on the bench. Then Ferguson's path would have been blocked.
That's right.
And this year's been a breakout for Ferguson. And what I saw just him coming off the bench today, he is going to be. He's going to be top quality. That lad. If he's
not going to be at Brighton.
No,
in 2
if
years.
he doesn't end up at one of the Champions League teams in the next 2 years, I'll be massively surprised because he's got something very, very special about him. Now imagine his path had been blocked this year because they'd kept all the Mopai, but that's the kind of thinking that our club has been operating on for years. Like, there's a bit of talent there. He's not quite ready yet, but how's he going to get ready? Well, you need to play games of football. And maybe that's what we've seen with Dwight McNeil this year. Is he's come on because he's been allowed to play. Anthony Gordon, ironically, was the young player, but we sold him. And we give a better pathway for Dwight McNeil, who we bought. And it's figured itself out.
Well, it also sort of brings up the point. This is a little off topic from that, but, I think most people in their lives want things to be simple. They want black and white answers to everything. But it seems like in football, we don't.
No.
But sometimes it is just pretty simple. DCL comes back in. He's healthy. He's terrorizing center backs. That opens up more space for Dwight McNeil. All of a sudden, Dwight McNeil looks like a great player because he has more space to operate. He has somebody to ping crosses into. We bring Yerry Mina in. We can afford to sit back a little deeper, and we can afford to maybe put one more man, forward. Sometimes it is just that simple. There's
better players in the team make the team better.
Well, there's an old saying that was coined by an American football coach named Barry Switzer, who coached the Cowboys for a while, but he was a longtime college football coach, and he was, people used to always question his tactical, acumen, and he just looked at him. He was from Oklahoma. He just said, "It ain't about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes."
There you go.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's just about having your best players fit, healthy, available. And then, obviously you hope that you've got players that fit into the system. Because, look, lots of different teams win lots of different ways. So there's not one way to win. There's not one way to play, right? It's about syncing up people that are good for your system, that operate within your system. But when you take a DCL out, Dwight McNeil looks average. When DCL's in there, Dwight McNeil looks like he should just retroactively be put on the Ballon d'Or list, right? It's just that simple sometimes. So anyway, hey, great thing you guys do as always. I know I say this every time.
Good to talk.
Really appreciate you guys, and it's been a while since I've been able to call in, but I was glad I had today.
Good to have you on, mate.
So
good
you guys are the best, man.
Speak to you soon,
cheers.
mate. See you later.
Yep, cheers.
Mate. Big thanks, John. One thing I would say when he was talking about the NFL and our American sports is it's dead nice then when you can't be relegated, though, isn't it? It's dead nice to be able to go, we know we're going to get this big fat of cash and we don't care who actually wins it. And again, that's what the Super League was, wasn't it, essentially?
Yeah, but no, I agree with you. But in that sport, you also go, we finished bottom. That means we get to pick the best players out of college.
I was listening to saying this to Baz the other day. Listening to one of the basketball guys, one of the top players came out and went, "Not everyone can win." And then like Steve Kerr from the Golden State Warriors went, "Not everyone can win. Not everyone's a loser because they don't win." I was like, that's because you get to do it again next year and again and again, and you don't have to worry about that thing over your shoulder. There's only one prize in your sport, so if you don't win it, you're not a loser. But in football, it's different, isn't it?
That is the key, actually. One prize.
Yeah.
Okay, you might say the conference championship and then the national one, but yeah.
Yeah, but
you don't get knocked down into little league, do you?
No, that's it. Most teams,
team,
most people are too busy looking over the shoulder. Ned, you are a terrifying person.
Just a terrifying person. Yeah, no, he's been sitting here trying to catch me eye with his Tim Howard mask on for ages.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to... Yeah, I've seen that before. You know what? It's because Gemma's here and she's taking the spotlight off him.
Yeah.
And he's like that kid, isn't he? You know when like people have a baby or something and the older kid starts getting a little bit aggressive and stuff and maybe, you know... Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't put a blanket over her face or something. Yeah. That's good. That's good stuff. There you go. There you go. As someone in the comments just said, drink every time Ped says, there you go. So there you go. You're all going to get bladdered and I'm not because I
have
don't
another drink with all that stuff. Yeah.
There you go. Right, it's time to go because we've got to do the news and then we've got to go and watch the Milan derby. Not all together, just in a general thing. So everyone should be subscribed. Why isn't everyone subscribed to Toffee TV Football anyway? Ned said the link is pinned, or as he said, the link is pinned. There you go. Baz is going to check apparently, and he says, and he's going to check it twice because well, yeah. There you go. That's it. Some basic tig says Ned should be put into foster care. No one will take him. There you go. Right, we'll be back tomorrow at 1:30 on Toffee TV Premiere. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all later. Bye.
Take care, everyone.
Just anytime you want, Jem. Thank you.